Day 45 of looking for the best hill in LA for sprints. We got a top contender here, I'm not gonna lie. This is not one of those mountain climbs, just straight vertical. This is a long, steady gradient. It is a hill run. I don't even think I can sprint this far, not gonna lie. Oh boy. So, yeah, back out here, body feels great. I'm so patient on the bad days that I forget sometimes I'm playing the long game so much that when I actually find gains and progress, or I just feel completely pain-free, I'm like, what's that about? And I'm so delayed gratification that when gratification almost comes, I'm like, something feels off. So it's good. I have to get used to feeling good. So, yeah. So long-term thinking, I'm shocked when the results actually come. I get used to it. But still not sprinting on a track, not trying to rush it. The hills are cool because it's less of a vertical force and pounding and less on the shins, and it's more of a horizontal, like a sled push. So the force is a little slower. Which honestly, when you're getting back into running, especially if you have, say, spinal sensitivity, like just the feeling of that kind of bouncing on your disc, that compression leaves you feeling achy. Running on an incline, even if you're jogging, it's gonna be more muscular and less elastic, and with the fascia, and it's gonna be less vertical compression on the disc. Which you don't have to do forever, but it's a good middle step. For anyone coming back from injury, honestly, running uphill slows you down. It's equal parts climbing as it is running. So if I ran flat right now, was trying to sprint fast, my hip flexor strain I had 8 months ago, that stretch as far as I can and quick turnover, that's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of force, hundreds of pounds of force on my hip flexor. Where this, a little slower, climbing up the hill, it just lessens that. It still works on pushing off the ground like a drive phase, but anyways, that's what we got today. Letting y'all inside my own training. Comes with some off days and comes with some cool days. We'll see which one today is. Think it's gonna be a cool day. Just give you a scope. Look at this. That's the top of the hill, right? I'm not at the bottom. That's the bottom of the hill. So I don't know if I don't think I'm gonna do the whole thing. That shit's gotta be a fucking 300. It's the fun part, running down. I kind of like the public workouts because some people would call it disturbing the public. I call it inspiring the public, because who else are you gonna find heaving on your front porch, you know? Doing hill sprints and then collapsing on your sidewalk. Like, it's just leaving a sweat print right on your front steps. It's a sort of role model you just can't even buy out here, you know? She says 275 meters. Did it in a minute. That shit is kicking my ass. Oh. That was 48 seconds for 275 meters. Couple hundred feet climb. I don't know what that really works out to be, but oh. Probably try to get under 45, do 2 or 3 more. I just like to go right to the point where I feel like if I do another set or 2, I'll be just sore as shit. So I just scale back from there. Because squeezing out that extra rep or two, you get more fit, but you're just tight and your lifting gets worse that week and it takes a whole week to recover, so. That's the motto, one less than I'd like. Feel good now that I'm warmed up, though, that's for sure. Boy, that shit just destroyed me. Oh, I thought I was gonna do 3 more. I don't know who I thought I was. Oh, I got 44. Give me like 2 months, we're gonna revisit this hill. I'll get under 40. That's my thinking. To go 10% faster, I need 2 whole months minimum on a practice round. Three years ago, I would have been like, well, give me a week. And maybe I would have gotten it, but then I would have been out. Yeah, I'm pumped up. My glutes are fucking fried. I don't think y'all are seeing this hill correctly. So I'm stopping up there. Talking about, it doesn't even zoom enough. Sheesh. We'll go to the gym quick and finish with some Kadour, Ziani postures. If you don't know him yet, definitely check him out. Kadour Ziani, the ultimate legend in dunking. He's 5'10", shorter than me. Was doing the most crazy shit back in the 90s, early 2000s. The internet wasn't a thing, otherwise he'd have 1 million followers then. But, bro, the shit he could do, insane. And you couldn't visually tell by his physique how athletic he was. But that's fascia, that's tensegrity. So he really mastered that and just goes off a holistic, intuitive flow based on observing animals. You may not agree with everything, you may not love all of it or think it's sciencey enough, but now he's 52 almost and can still dunk barefoot off 1 foot. And I just say that barefoot 1 foot because so much force through your foot, your fascia, mine would rip. Then to the Achilles, and so, yeah, someone to check out. He's mentored me up a bit and I've been getting a lot of feedback in my body from it. I'm able to push harder in my starts, through my toes, the balls of my feet. It's like I was trying to hit home runs, but my grip was like flimsy and thumb pain, and I was using my shoulder and torso, but the better I could grip a bat, that whole chain of tension and fluidity improves. Take that same analogy now with the arch of your foot and the grip of your big toe. How well is your Achilles and lower legs? All the way up to the final powerhouse of the glutes and low back. You can now push from the biggest muscles to the connecting part to the ground, which is the big toe and foot, if you work on every little link. So it's very much the same of what I try to help from a rehab stance for the low back. But yeah, I'm gonna stop talking and cue back in when I'm at the gym doing it. Kind of just because I felt like it, I don't know. It's been a while, let's get some good holds in. Holds are not just the rehab tool. Load them up, do a minute. Doesn't always have to be body weight for 2 minutes. Another thing is don't just try to stay up, but stay out. Straight line from heels to head, reach out. You feel everything, hamstrings, glutes, low back, mid back, but when you only go up, kind of like a little kid fighting to do planks for 5 minutes there. Back is just arching. Passive, you don't want that. How'd I get into this position? love that. With the plate, I think in front's better. Toast. Back when I was 9. All right, I'm gonna flow through all the postures quick. Straight from Kadour. First one, the cat. Can be done lying down. Could be done with a foot on top of a stool. But really just about grabbing the big toe. Each show's also seated sideways, grabbing the big toe and starting to pull at the hip. With the tension starting, big toe, arch of the foot. Really, really easy. So anyone can do that, no matter how bad your back is. Lying on the side, lifting the hip from the big toe. He does it side lying, like this. 30 seconds. Switch. Honestly, after sprinting, it's funny, like, that's actually insane. If I pull my foot up, but not the big toe, like this, I don't really feel anything. The second I start pulling from the big toe, now I feel my glutes stretching. I swear to God. Here, not really much of the glutes. Start the pull from the big toe, I feel the glutes more. So it just shows a centimeter of stretch. The fascia's all connected. It's a line all the way from the foot to the glute. The fascia being stretched all the way from the big toe pulls a centimeter down, then up the calf, centimeter down the fascia, then behind the knee, centimeter down. It's like a string. You pull it from the bottom, the entire string pulls a millimeter. And what's under the fascia? What does fascia encapsulate? The muscle. So you're literally pulling the entire fascia line starting from the big toe. And because I just sprinted, obviously the whole thing is pumped up and I can feel it more. That's insane. That's the easiest one, that's cat. And then next, I might mess up the order, I'm not gonna lie. He could correct it, is the cow. So you're sitting on both feet right here. Shown this one before. Really simple. All my Muslim brothers and sisters. This position of prayer, obviously. Kadour makes a lot of reference to his faith in Islam and how it kind of influenced these postures. And it's legit. Some things that are habitual and cultural, like take a Asian squat, they would call it. This is another posture, the frog. That stuff adds up. So the biggest thing, it's not just sitting on the heels. Obviously, this is gonna be sensitive for some of you guys, the knees or ankles. You can adjust how much weight you have sitting back with your hands. But the biggest thing that changed it for me was not sitting with my heels straight, my feet completely straight, but pointing the toes in and then heels out. I use my hands and actually try to crank that heel outwards a little bit more. And you might think, well, what's the point of stretching the ankle like that? It's not really for the ankle. When you rotate this heel out while you're flexing the knee and it's compressed, what happens, the stretch goes less just from the straight tib in the front of the leg and then to the side, the peroneus, perineus. I'm not really sure, but there's a muscle right along the outside of the calf. It's not your gastroc, it's not the shin, it's on the side. And when you rotate here, it stretches that muscle as well as others outside the fibula, that inner leg bone you got. Bro, for me having so much shin splints and stress fractures, the entire capsule, the entire vessel of my lower leg has gotten swollen and stuck in scar tissue, not just on the outside, but inner compartments of the lower leg can get really swollen and just stay with adhesion. So as well as that posterior knee strain that I had in that corner, the muscles on the outside of the calf were always super tight. I didn't know till I did this. So you can do just one side at a time and shift, but it's really about flexing the knee like this and rotating out, toes in, heels out. This completely got rid of that pain behind my knee that hamstring curls weren't fixing, Nordics made it worse. So it was super sensitive at first. I had to go really easy. I would say this, plus the foot strengthening that I do, the little foot rolls and arch push-ups I do with the weight, that's strengthened all the way up into the back of the knee. So no more pain. So this one's a favorite of mine. Cow. Next, grasshopper. Same thing on one leg, but then one foot's gonna kick out to the big toe. We're back to stretching the fascia in the bottom of the foot. From the big toe. Pretty intense. I do about 20, 30 seconds and then I'll shift. So you take it very passive and sit forward. It's like 30 pounds on that foot. As you progress, what I started doing is almost like a couch stretch and leaning back. So the more I would shift back and squeeze this glute and push the hip forward, the whole stretch gets more intense. I don't do this stuff every day. I'm not gonna lie, it's like everything, the tissue tolerance and that graded approach needs to be here because it is stretching. And again, any area in the body, in my experience, if I only stretch it, only stretch the plantar fascia, only stretch the calves, only stretch my quads, but didn't strengthen with a short squeeze, I just got sensitive over months. And then it took a long time to get back. So I do it about twice a week right now. I'm sure you can build up handling more, but there's no amount too little. Really, the practice, one of the core philosophies Kadour preaches on is the ground is reality and just spend time on it. He'll work floating through these positions. As you see the other ones, you realize how doable that is. So you can make it a lifestyle thing. As soon as things feel sensitive, the top of the feet, maybe the knees, chill out, scale it back. So that's grasshopper. Next, camel, my favorite, literally favorite. So one foot is still in that heel sit position, and then you're going to be in a deep squat on the front leg. So I'm still rotating this foot outside. Stretch the peroneus right here. Perineus, I gotta figure out what the fuck that shit's called. But, and I'm hugging the knee, pulling myself in. The reason I like this is a lot of the same feeling of stretching a deep squat, but when you don't have a deep squat, you're tight like me after sprinting, you don't really get further. But this lets you scale back even more because you can sit back and still have this gap closed, or you can lean into it, stretch the ankle more. You really hug yourself and compress. You can start to feel the groin stretch, the adductors too. So about 20 seconds each side, 30 seconds. Something else he does, he'll put his hand under the big toe and pull. Feel the glutes more again. Maybe you won't, but right now I am. This next one's a little crazy, so it's an addition to the camel. Sitting in this position, I'm going to push off the top of my back foot. Some call it like a shrimp squat. You're going down like that. But use the top of the foot, strengthening off the top of the ankle. Doing 10 each side. Ooh. There we go. I'm really putting load on that back leg. In a gym full of bodybuilders, I am that guy. They don't know what I'm doing, but they know I know some shit. And they're probably not impressed. They probably don't want to know, but so interesting. This is shit I just feel like as a human feels good. That's why I bring it up, is because culture will have you training a certain way, and I went through different versions of it. First getting into kettlebell stuff in the RKC world and Pavel, and then getting more functional and physical therapists like Gray Cook, strength coaches like Dan John and Mike Boyle, doing Turkish get-ups and shit, tons of swings. And then I went to powerlifting and did like Mark Rippletoe's 531 and different programs like that, where it's only numbers and less focus on how you feel. They don't really teach quality of how your squat feels, say, is a little bit secondary. At least the way I remember learning. Then getting into Olympic lifts and the technical shit of that. And then bro lifting. And I bring up all those things because it was a different mentality every time, when really it probably didn't have to be. So now I take shit from all of it. I do ham curls like a bodybuilder. Sometimes high volume, drop set, just cranking it. But then I'll squat like an Olympic weightlifter. Really, really deep, controlled. But then I'll do shoulder press like a power lifter, RDLs, 10 sets of 2, 10 sets of 3. Pauses, tempo, you know? I do plyos like basketball player. Like, you can take the gems from all of them. But normally when you find the thing you like, you also just find the people you like in that. You adopt the subliminal norms, and then you just start like seeing certain shit is stupid, like I did. I became righteous. I found ATG stuff, and I was an ATG coach. And I was like, I don't foam roll, what the fuck? I don't stretch, I strength train through length. And then I kept getting hurt, and I was like, all right. So, you know, even when you found the gold, found the secret answers, you realize there's more questions, which means there's more answers. If you think you have all the answers, you're not gonna look for the questions, so. Monologue over. Let's get to the next one, which was, this is the camel. This one is, next is the cow. I'm sorry, no, the frog, which is a deep squat. Hooking, not just floating here, butt wink is okay. I'm definitely having a butt wink today after sprinting. But hooking the armpits and arms on top of the knees, letting you pull yourself into it. Right here. You could hold a weight, counterbalance. You also could elevate the heels. If you're at a sensitive back, I wouldn't really want you forcing a ton of butt wink. So that can be a little straining on that side joint if you got issues there, but otherwise, not painful. It's not a bad thing to sit in a passive squat, but I'm hooking and hugging. So compress the body as tight as you can, and then you're going to elongate. This is a super, super disclaimer. You don't have to do this. If you know you shouldn't, because your back extension reps aren't there, elephant walks are no-go, you got nerve pain, totally don't have to. And I would recommend against. But floating between compressed and expressed. You see I'm pulling the big toes. Changes the nerve stretch big time. Uh-oh. Something else he showed, which is interesting, like a elephant walk, but into a rolled ankle to stretch nerves again outside there. That made me get back to shit like this, typical track stretching, but I'm rolling the ankle and hinging. I didn't realize how tight it was. There's a lateral fascial line. I'm not the fascia expert, but I feel it. Maybe stretching isn't the answer, but I'm exploring. And I'm hinging, rolling the ankle, crazy. So, frog. Okay, after that, pigeon, but not like a normal pigeon stretch. It's a little less intense in the beginning, but you feel honestly, I haven't felt a contraction in my outer glutes, having it worked like this in a while. So the front leg's in this 45 degree, not 90. The knee can come to the top of the foot right before. And this is important, the back foot, if you can, is gonna be in that grasshopper position, so you're on the big toe. This is tough for people to even get into, not gonna lie. So you could start just down here. But the goal is big toe, squeezing the glute a little bit, get the couch stretch action, and then 45 degrees. And you wanna think about rolling your foot flat so it's the top of the foot. You can hold it, I do that. Just hold. And eventually the goal, you're trying to do reps leaning, and it's not crunching at the spine. Keep the spine pretty stacked and go from the hip. So just reach your body out. I don't know if this is perfect cue, but I touch my torso and my arm to the knee. And when you keep this foot rolled like this, push your knee into the ground, this front glute is working. There's some good length, so. My hands are out to counterbalance. Use a little 1 or 2 pounder. You can make it a little easier. If you feel your back, you're probably crunching down too much. You really feel the glutes when you can reach your body out. That loads them better. Oh, it's crazy. Sore glutes after this. Oh. I don't know why that hits it so crazy. All right, so other one. Back foot on the toe. Front foot. I'm rolling it. Trying to get the top of the foot there. Getting comfortable here first. And I'm gonna go out. So it feels a little easier. I'm doing it wrong. There you go. So all these get progressively a little tougher, and they're combining things. Like this one's combining pigeon with a grasshopper. The first one's easy. You literally just calls for pulling your hip up through the big toe. Anyone can do that to some degree. The next one, anyone can sit here to some degree, sit back. Anyone can kind of get the foot up a little bit, and then it gets a little tougher. Not everyone can sit here, go up and down. Not everybody can sit here whatsoever. And then the pigeon. So the last one, gorilla, combines all of it in tensegrity. Seeing Kadour does kind of crazy. But basically it's the same position. Pigeon, top of foot. Same way we were working the camel, pushing the top of the foot to get off the ground. Back of the foot, it's in that grasshopper. And then this is where it gets kind of crazy. You're going off the knuckles. You're not squeezing a knuckle, but your hands are loosely palmed, and you're pushing through the pinky, the outside, not straight. So it's not like a straight punch, but hands cupped, pinkies, and it's like a push-up. Pushing both feet, top of the foot, big toe, and he throws himself around and then he switches. That's where it starts to look fucking crazy. But I can't even do it yet, so that's where it's combining so much shit, and it's not just meant to be dynamic or look cool, but I guess in theory it's connecting all those sensitive and weak parts from the foot to the knee being bent in positions that are more telling too. It's like, how sensitive is your knee when it's out here? Maybe not at all. You can lift it and do whatever. But what about here? How much strength do you have to contract your knee when it's deep flexed? Same thing, big toe. Same thing here, top of your foot. These are all uncomfortable positions that if you can express strength through and your upper body connecting the whole thing, sounds voodoo out there. I mean, I haven't mastered it yet, but just look at the dude's fucking tape, bro, and longevity. I feel better since doing it, I'm not gonna lie. This is really the only kind of passive stretching I do, but it's not just for the bigger muscle groups. So that's part of it. I think the issue was I spent a lot of time stretching when I was younger, only the large muscle groups. But what I didn't do was the specific strengthening for the large muscle groups that made them tight. Because you would think, okay, my glutes are always tight, and I train them. Obviously, I'm squatting a lot and sprinting. But it's like, how much of the specific glute strength was I doing in the weak positions and directions? Not at all. So I might think I have tight glutes because I train them a lot in one direction, but my glute isn't always extremely tight this way. It's super tight in rotation. And so basically what I'm getting at is I only stretch the things that were massive in my body and not from the smallest parts of my toe, contracting out of in the top of the foot and the side of my calf, rolling this here. And when I did that, literally after a month, these little phantom pains kind of cleared up some. So not a fix-all, but I think it's better than just toe touches. But that's it, man. Check him out, Kadour Ziani. This is the in-depth, pretty much gave away all his stuff, but that's what he wants. We've taught videos together and probably do some workshops together. He's a dude that honestly is a legend. And you wouldn't necessarily know it, because to be frank, and he has no issue with me saying this, he's French from Algeria. French from Algeria sounds crazy. He's from Algeria, but he lives in France. He's got a thick French accent. He's 52 and just got on social media. And he gets the word out for sure. And those that know, it's a real if you know, you know thing in the dunk world. But his teachings go way further than dunk and way further than sport. I think it's critical if you do want to be athletic to understand it. But for basic use of your body and life principles, if you go through the Kadour Ziani alphabet, he has a whole alphabet of virtue that if you like anything about me with the long game and just the principles that I hone in underneath the training, you would love Kadour and realize a lot of it is inspired by him. And so he's a guy that hasn't figured out the marketing yet and is like so into the life practice, he lives this shit. So he's not huge yet, but check out his shit, shoot him a message, get the book. It's really worth it, I'm not just saying that. So, all right, y'all, that's it for here.